Greetings, greetings, greetings. You are now tuned into the Vault. Trust Christian, own nothing, control everything. Just want to thank you for tuning in live or listening to replay. Always appreciate, you tuning in live or listening to replay. We have a bunch of people, bunch of listeners that have listened for years. Even if this is your first episode, just to this particular episode or listening to the Vault, always appreciate you for tuning in live or listening to replay, sharing it with your friends and family, any of your colleagues. This is episode The Vault, episode 230. Many are called, but few are chosen. And so, this is a episode that goes into a lot of the mindset that we talk to trustees about on in the private sector through trustee training and things of that nature. So this episode is just gonna go straight in line with that style and that type of conversation. And this is just going to be one of those episodes. So, once again, appreciate you for tuning in live or listening to replay. Episode 230. Many are called, but few are chosen. Appreciate the listeners that are listening live from Mississippi. If you all want to, feel free to type into the chat, where you're listening from. Always appreciate it. Just feel free to type into the chat where you're listening from, what state, what country you're listening from. Just thinking about, this particular episode and this particular topic, many are called, few are chosen. This is because so many people have contacted the vault for 2 to 3 years. Uh, we were thinking about actually naming this "You Snooze, You Lose" because some of the people, the listeners, even new listeners, are going to be surprised that a lot of the old episodes are actually private now. And that's just because of the times that we're in, ladies and gentlemen. A lot of people throughout the years have listened to the vault for years and they've gotten free game. They've listened to the vault and got a lot of free information, and that model doesn't work. Free doesn't work. So we're going to do episodes based off of the year. The episodes that you're listening to currently are episodes that are this year, current 2020. But all the episodes from 19 are private, all the episodes from 18 are private, all the episodes that were from 17 are private. And if you want to get private access, you can feel free to reach out. There is a cost associated with that, because all of those episodes are college level episodes, ladies and gentlemen. We know people that have college degrees. We know people that are accountants that don't talk about what we talk about at the vault. And we've known this for years. And it's just another testament to the value and the quality of the information that we disseminate in the public and we talk about in the public. And it has to be valued as such. So if you would like to get access to those episodes, you can feel free to reach out, Christian at trustchristian.com. We will actually throw a new website up again, so you all will have access to the website. You all can get the episodes directly from there. That website will have the episodes embedded on the website. You can still pay to click, pay to play, because that's what the environment we're in, ladies and gentlemen. This is a pay to play environment, and many people were called to listen to the vault. Somebody shared the episodes with you. Somebody, you may have heard the vault through other episodes. And so many people have listened to the vault episodes and have never pursued the education. They've listened to it for years, listened to it for months. They haven't pursued the education. And that's not what this platform is about, ladies and gentlemen, because we understand that our mentors, educated us and told us not to even get on the internet talking about this stuff, because they said people over the internet don't value this information because they don't have a clue of how valuable it is unless they pay for it. And we understand that when we learn the information in private mentorship and private trusteeship, we paid to get into those private workshops. And this is just the same exact thing as paying to get into a private workshop. People will literally reach out to the vault and tell the vault boohoo and sob stories about how they're not in a financial position to do a consultation. How are you going to be in the private sector and you're not even able to do a consultation? You were called, but it's not about the vault choosing you. It's about you choosing yourself. People say, well, many are called, but few are chosen. Who chooses who? Who chooses us? You have to choose yourself. That's who has to be chosen. You have to choose yourself as that person that's going to change the family curse, that say, I'm going to make sure that our family's in the correct position for generations to come. Shout out to Chicago. Shout out to the Bronx. Appreciate you all for tuning in live. Once again, if you all are listening from a certain area, feel free to type into the chat where you listening from. But many are called, and few are chosen because they didn't decide to choose themselves. They wanted to say, hey, I'm gonna pass the buck along to my family members. I'm gonna go to my family members and see if they want to be chosen. And then when you went to your family members and you found out they didn't want to be chosen, you found out that it was on you, that you were the one that was chosen for the information. And did you choose yourself? Or you think that the vault's gonna say, hey, you gotta reach out. We're doing a discount. The vault's not doing no discounts throughout this whole pandemic. The vault has done no discounts. There's no discounts in the private, ladies and gentlemen, because you have to choose yourself. So many people will say, I'm going to think about it. What is there to think about? You were called, and now you have to choose yourself. You have to choose yourself to pay the price for now and forever. And we already know most people's family members, they didn't choose themselves. So now you got to choose yourself as the person that's going to step up, to say I'm going to be the sacrificial lamb. I'm going to invest in my private education. Are you going to choose yourself to be that sacrificial lamb? The one that's going to give up some of the temporary fancies in the world right now? Are you going to give up some temporary, gifts? Or are you still trying to do the worldly things out here, ladies and gentlemen? Trusteeship's not for everybody. We used to hear mentors say that. See, mentors will use big words with us like, oh, you listen to the trust information. You're aware of the trust information, but it sounds like you're enamored with the trust information. We would sit there like, what do you mean enamored with the trust information? We're like, this is some information that just sounds good to you. This is not something that you want to live, because this is a lifestyle. Trusteeship is a lifestyle. You got to be all in or nothing. And we're sitting there like we are all in. And all the mentors was doing, it was just testing us to see if we were choosing ourselves. Because the trustee mentors couldn't even choose us. Like, the mentors could not choose us as a senior trustee. They would literally tell you, like, I can't choose you. You have to choose yourself. But most people don't want to choose themselves. And we didn't know that when we first started trustee training. We thought everybody that listened to the vault, they were just going to make it a point to get going because they knew how valuable the information was. But ladies and gentlemen, how can someone know how valuable the information is when they don't even know how valuable they are to their own family? They don't even know how valuable they are. People say, I'm going to go through and I'm going to get half the system, make sure half the system is good. How did you choose yourself and you didn't even choose the whole system? You're supposed to choose the whole system so you can choose your whole self. Because when we sat in a trust mentorship program, they said when you in the private family foundation, you create your perfect calendar. This is where you make money giving it away. Wow. And people got enamored with that. People got enamored with the own nothing, control everything. It sounds good to own nothing, control everything. But how many people are going to live it? How many people really want to live trusteeship? They are enamored with trusteeship. Oh man, it sounds good to own nothing, control everything, but I'm not in it yet. They didn't invest. And now you see why the vault has privatized all the episodes for the past. They snoozed, they lose. The vault's not here to out here to get wealthy off the public, ladies and gentlemen. People, you don't get wealthy off the public. You don't. Private people work together anyways. So when you're in the private sector, you work with other private people. This is not to get anybody doing anything they don't want to do. This was to share with you all, which is definitely not talked about in the public, but smeared in your face. This is where rich people such as the politicians say, we're going to raise the taxes. They're not raising taxes on themselves. You think a smart person would raise taxes on themselves? Do y'all really think that? You think a Democrat or a Republican is going to raise taxes on themselves? No, they're going to raise taxes on ignorant people. They made sure that they chose the right person themselves. Appreciate Alaska for tuning in live. Appreciate Cali for tuning in live. Feel free to type into the chat where you're listening from. So many people said, Trust Christian, like, where is trustee training at this point? How long is it going to be around? And it's crazy because The trustee training was a passion. It's a passion. It's a passion to educate and work with people that want to choose themselves. It's a self-selection process. How many people chose themselves? You got to choose yourself for greatness. No one's going to choose you. Not your mother, not your father, not your school teachers, not even your wife or your husband. You got to choose yourself. You got to listen to that inner voice and know what's right. But how many people did? How many people just kept listening for their family, but they never acted on it? They never chose it for themselves. And then when we talk to trustees and tell them you got to be selfish for your family right now, you got to be selfish to get the information for your family right now, they thinking about it still. They going to go back and do what? Listen to some more episodes. They trying to figure out how to get more free information. But the ones that chose themselves, they started on the yellow brick road to find out that the Wizard of Oz was a fake. There was no real wizard. The only person in control of your life was you. Just like one of the mentors say, the good news is you're on a job. The bad news is you're on a job. You thought you could take off days like the pandemic right now. Most people literally just took off 6 months of their lives and have been set back 6 months financially. That's crazy. Because they didn't choose themselves. And they thought the government was going to choose them. And they just lost 6 months to their life. People spent the damn PPP money. That wasn't supposed to be spending. You was supposed to be saving and investing. People were spending that money. They didn't even invest the money. There's a clear difference between the word spending and investing. And what did they do? They spent the money. There's no ROI on spending money. There's no rate of return on spending money. They didn't invest it. And it's like, wow, man, so many people, they missed the boat for something that was so beautiful, something so special, something that could change lives. Private trusteeship for your family. Making sure that you don't have your second and third generation working for another man or woman. And if they do, it's a choice. It's not a have to. People feel like they have to go get jobs. We got people that still sometimes go through trustee training, may be in a position to protect their family assets, and still think about considering getting a job. How are you thinking about considering getting a job? Because you didn't choose yourself. You chose another man. You chose another woman to provide the right check for you, the check amount for you. You're not in control of your emotions. You're not in control of your mindset. How do you get in control of your mindset? How do you get in control of your emotions? You got to invest in yourself. You got to choose yourself every single day. You got to get up and say, I'm about to take a blank check and write a number down, and I'm about to work and earn it. So many people listen to the vault throughout the years. Ladies and gentlemen, we've invested in that in relationships all the way through and through. Whether it was Cornell the trader, whether it was through our private banker relationships, whether it was through our family banking relationships, whether it was through our relationships with our spiritual mentors, whether it was a relationships with our health advisors. Ladies and gentlemen, when you are building wealth, you got to have a team of people. You don't do nothing on your own. How many people want to build a team? We heard mentors all throughout our years say, man, this trust stuff not for everybody, because they don't want to do the work. We literally got a guy over the internet that we have a relationship with that has over 100,000 views, and he's a trustee. And he literally has tried to help out brothers and sisters, men and women, learn how to make sure that their status is right. And we got him, we asked him to come on for an interview, and he said, the reason why I don't want to do an interview is because I know that people don't want to do the work. They don't want to lift those muscles. They don't want to do the push-ups every day. They don't want to study for 9 minutes every day. They don't want to invest in their private education. They're not going to hit the books with you, Trust Christian. They're not going to ask you questions. And that's where we are, ladies and gentlemen, in 2020. This is an episode for the ages. Everything we did was for history. This wasn't for just to get some money. This was for history, ladies and gentlemen. This is to show the world that this is what is going on in the world. People are doing private business while some people are stuck in the public. And you have to choose to be on what side. And it's not something you can delay on. But people have delayed on it. I'll contact you in a month. I'll contact you in a few months. People are putting a price on their freedom, ladies and gentlemen. The reason why they didn't choose themselves is because they don't know how much they're worth. We ask people in the private, how much are you worth an hour? They say they don't know. People don't even know how much they worth an hour. How you going to choose yourself and you don't know how much you worth? How did you choose yourself? You got to know how much you worth. How much are your dreams worth? How much are your goals worth? Everything has a pay price to action. Everything has a cost. Many are called, but few are willing to pay the cost to be the boss. Many are called, and many want to be employees. Many are called to trusteeship and still don't want to learn trusteeship, but they want to trust though. We'll say it again. Many are called to trusteeship, but they don't want to be a trustee. They just want to trust. Because they know that that's the superior entity. They hear the calling, but they didn't choose themselves to be the trustee. They wanted to be the employee of the trust. So they could take a salary. So they can stay in the same position that they were before. Because they heard own, none, control everything, but they still trying to figure out how they going to have their lifestyle paid for. Ladies and gentlemen, when you're in trusteeship, you don't own anything. So there is no lifestyle to be paid for. The trust has a company car, but the trust can't drive the company car. The trust has company houses. How can the trust live in a house? It's a piece of paper. But that's why you were supposed to invest in your private education so you can choose yourself to be the property manager of the company property. That's what happened. How do I transfer property into trust? Basic questions. That's what happens when you don't choose yourself. You don't invest in your education. Of course you got to choose yourself. Nobody's going to choose you. It's a self-selection process. We just really wanted to give that word today because there's so many people that contact the vault and they say, I'm going to contact you in the future. Like they got tomorrow promised or something. How do you got tomorrow promised? People are walking around literally being a liability to their family. They heard the calling. They listening to the calling every week on Tuesday. They listening to the calling for the pop-up episodes. They are listening to the calling in the archives, but they didn't choose themselves first. You got to choose yourself. You got to know that you're the best of your bloodline right now. That's why you still alive, because you got a purpose. But what happened? When you surround yourself around people that don't feel like they worth nothing, you're not going to feel like you worth nothing. We are who we hang around. People didn't choose themselves. That's why they didn't hear the calling for real. The calling is own and control everything. The calling is legacy income. The calling is generational wealth. The calling isn't a tax break. The calling is generational wealth. Think about how much further you would have been ahead if you would pass along $1 million tax-free in a trust. So not only did you get some money, but you got it in a proper position. You might think a little bit different right now. And you have the opportunity to do that, and you're passing it up for what reason? Because you want to keep $300 cable bill? Because you want to keep a $150 cable bill? How do you have a $300 or $150 cable bill, but you didn't get the consultation and choose yourself? People didn't choose themselves. They chose cable. They chose Jordans. They chose LeBron sneakers. They chose designer. They chose debt. So hold up. You got a credit card, ladies and gentlemen, but you didn't use your credit card for trustee training. You use your you use your credit card for everything else your entire life. And the one time in your life you heard the truth, you heard the calling, and you didn't invest in your private education. Wow. People will mortgage their life away through a mortgage. They won't even own the house. We know people, stop playing games, ladies and gentlemen. You know people that literally paid on a mortgage and they about to get foreclosed on right now. Stop playing with yourselves. People are about to get foreclosed on. These people think they own their home. Right now they say they own their home, but they about to get foreclosed on. They heard the calling and they didn't choose themselves. Oh man, I own a house, but you underwater right now. You were willing to mortgage, you were willing to become a debt slave for what? To a piece of property that can be stolen back from you through a mortgage. Wow. People were willing to mortgage their lives away through a piece of property that wasn't even an asset. It wasn't even yielding them any income. They were willing to get a piece of property and mortgage themselves away, their energy, their labor, their time. But then they heard the truth. Own and control everything. People say, well, I don't know which one to get started first. Should I deal with the trust or should I deal with the corporation? Ladies and gentlemen, you heard the calling. When you going to choose yourself? It's own and control everything. Founders and CEOs of companies are not always the owner. Just get started. Get started in a position of own and control everything. A corporation doesn't mean you own it. A LLC doesn't mean you own it. But I'm a sole proprietor now, Trust Christian. That means you got to keep it moving. That means you got to keep educating yourself. That means you got to keep educating yourself to get around the right people to make sure that by the end of this year, by the end of the tax year, you're in the right position of own and control everything. That's what you got to do. Not sit here and keep hearing the calling. But y'all want to hear the calling, huh? How many times you need to hear the calling? When we heard about the trust and the foundation, when we heard about how the private sector's operating, it didn't take us no year to get going. Did we create partnerships, GPs and LPs? Yes, we did. We had to get the knowledge because they say knowledge is power. They say knowledge is everything. How is knowledge everything and you hanging around people that don't even value the information that you know is valuable? How are you hearing the calling? How are you choosing yourself when you're around people that don't even value the information that you value? You go to your friends, you go to your family. Hey man, I just found some valuable information. And they say, oh man, tell me when you get that done. Holler at me when you do it. Hey, look, go ahead and do that. I heard some people do it well. Hey, go do that. Let me know how it works out for you. And that's when you're supposed to say bye. But people don't say bye because they wanted someone else to choose them. They wanted someone else to approve of their decisions, approve of their lifestyle, approve of their goals, approve of their dreams. They didn't self-select. They wanted someone else to select them and tell them they were going to be successful. Now you got an opportunity in your life to get what you know is that golden or that diamond nugget for yourself, for your family. And you're going to hang around people. You're going to associate with people. You're going to even have conversations with people that you know don't know it, but they're going to tell you, let me know how it works out for you. And you still going to go to the cookout or the barbecue with them? You still going to go to the basketball range with them? You still going to go to dinner with them, huh? You going to go visit them for their birthday and give them a birthday gift, huh? But they didn't believe in you. They didn't have enough confidence in you. They didn't choose you. They didn't choose you. They chose their birthday. They didn't choose you. They chose going out to dinner. They didn't choose you. What else did they choose? Why? Because they can't choose you. It's a self-selection process. That's why few are chosen. Because a few of us, less than the 1%. Ladies and gentlemen, do y'all even know that it's really less than 1% of the population that's truly in trust? Y'all know that? Truly operating as trustees? Do y'all really know that? And y'all listen to it sometime and y'all just say, wow, like that sounds like the coolest thing since sliced bread. Like that trust of I know it's the final frontier, but I'm not invested yet. I don't have the money. Ladies and gentlemen, how do you have money for cable? Why didn't you sell some of your clothes? Why didn't you sell some of your shoes? Why didn't you sell something to get the money to improve your position? because it wasn't a priority, because you didn't choose yourself. The vault can't choose you. This isn't a sales pitch. People come on the line for a consultation. We tell them, this isn't a sales pitch. What is the purpose and intention of this phone call today? What is the purpose? Did you self-select yourself? Or you still get on the line asking the vault, well, hey, how do I get my freedom through the UCC? What do you mean? How can a piece of paper make you a slave? That's like a mortgage. So the mortgage made you a slave to paying it every month. But guess what? The bank, they can recall a loan at any moment. The bank can foreclose on you if you miss a payment. They got clauses in the document that says you're a debt, you're a slave to the contract. You believe in your head that you're a slave to the contract, and they can take the contract back at any moment and make you look like you work for nothing. All for nothing. You think that's a quality position? You willing to do that with your life? Wow. We appreciate everybody for tuning in live, listening to the replay this far. But it's time to make some changes at the vault. So, many are called, but few are chosen. If y'all want to listen to past episodes, you got to invest in your private education. Each episode will be $1. We done did over 200 some episodes. We had to take episodes down because we saw trustees or people wasn't doing right by them. So we like, okay, cool, we're going to take those episodes down so certain people in the private have access to them. But if people in the public even want access to them, don't you got to pay for college? Come on, ladies and gentlemen, you got to invest in your education. That's the difference between the public and the private. You got to invest in your education. Man, I don't know if I could invest $1 for an hour and a half of quality information. Then you don't deserve it. Go listen to the radio. We're sure you're going to hear some hip hop where they're telling you about drugs and people dying. That's it. Have fun. Go to the public side where they're not sharing with you edification and education. They're selling you the easiest death dealing poison. We brought resources to the table, ladies and gentlemen. We have a private wealth community that we built over years now. Over years, and still are building a community to this day. Many are called, but few are chosen for that, though. Not everybody wants to invest in the private community. They want to be in the public community where people have barbecues and cookouts. And they talk about athletes, celebrities, celebrity entanglements. That's what they talk about in the public. See, in the private, we're talking about wealth creation. We're talking about families. That's what we're talking about in the private. That's what we're talking about in the private. Appreciate Washington for tuning in live, listening to the replay. Y'all can feel free to type into the chat. Always good to see where so many people are listening. Y'all can see this is a national broadcast. People say, oh man, I see the views. You should have more views. Ladies and gentlemen, we're not doing this for views because it's not for everybody. Many are called, but few are chosen. You were meant to hear a podcast like this. You were meant to get the information like this. But are you willing to pay $1 to hear an episode? Man, I don't know if I got $1. Right. You can't even get a quality piece of candy nowadays. And ain't even quality candy out there. You can't even get bad candy for $1 anymore. Bad candy used to be $1. You can't even get bad candy for $1. But you thinking about, should you pay for something to nourish your mind? See, we heard throughout the years, oh man, I want it. I want the knowledge. I want to be in trustee training. I want to be in it. But they didn't invest. It's time to separate the men from the boys. It's time to separate the women, the girls from the women. That's it. Bottom line. That's why we doing it now. It's time to pay to play. Because the mentors been told us that people, all they want to do is hear something good. You're like great entertainment to them, Trust Christian. You're telling them something that they will never be able to obtain. What's that? We had people tell us in the private and in the public, man, people shouldn't even be in trusteeship if they ain't got $1 million. Look how people want to exclude you and your wealth from being passed on from one generation to the next. Man, you ain't got $1 million. You don't deserve to be in that. You see how easy somebody wants to put you in your place? You see how easy somebody wants to choose you for their spot? When you going to choose your spot on a team of wealth building? When you going to choose your spot for wealth building, for your family, for generational and legacy wealth building? How many people talk to y'all like that? Everybody just wants your money though, right? Everybody wants what money you have, right? It ain't never been about that at the vault. It's about family and trusteeship. It's about legacy and generational wealth building. And people find out, oh man, I got to do a lot of work for my family to pass along the wealth from one generation to the next. I heard the calling, but now I figure out more and more every day I got to choose myself. You're right. You got to choose yourself. This is a self-selection process. That's why many are called and few are chosen. Because you got to choose yourself. When are you going to choose yourself, ladies and gentlemen? When are you going to choose yourself to invest in a certain investments that you know you got to invest in? When are you going to choose to invest in your education? But people want to pay to get the free information. Think about it. There's always a cost. Even when you giving your time to the free information, you still paying a cost. How much is your hour worth? How much is your minutes worth? You willing to go listen to some loser that's not even willing to really help y'all? Y'all listening to crooks and thieves over the internet. Wow. People didn't really want to go to the truth because they knew they was going to have to pay more. They was going to have to really pay for it. So they didn't choose themselves. They chose the free crook. That's promising them that you could discharge. That's promising you could set up $1 billion UCC contract and you ain't never got to work another day of your life. People want to hear somebody tell them that money is not real. How is money not real? If you don't do anything, you can't get money. You have to do something to get money. That's how you know it's real. But people didn't want to choose themselves. They wanted something from someone else for free. The government just told you could get something for free from the government. So the government chose you. Ooh, the government chose you? Wow. So who's the government? The people or the leaders or the servants? Because they're really supposed to be servants. They're supposed to be serving your local jurisdiction. But instead, they up there legislating, telling you to put a mask on, walking down the street. They're going to fine you for you exercising your God-given right to be free and die if you want to die. They put a mandate, a financial contract in place. You can go look it up. A mandate is a financial contract. You didn't choose yourself. You wanted somebody else to protect your health. That's why you got Social Security. Because somebody else is going to protect your health. The government's going to protect your health. Then the government come out and say, oh man, we made this mistake. We made that mistake. Well, did he act fast enough? Did he make the decisions fast enough? So you literally gave up control. But you still think you own your life. You own your life, but you gave up control. Instead of giving up ownership and maintaining control. That's the difference between people that are called and people that are chosen. Because they choose themselves. Appreciate South Carolina for tuning in live. Got some South Carolina listeners all over the map today. All over the map. And we just appreciate y'all. This isn't for the vault. This is for y'all families. Because we already know. If it ain't the vault, who else is doing it? The ones that's telling you the money don't exist. The money's not real. Are you serious? If you listen to those people, don't even worry about tuning back into the vault. Don't listen to the vault. It's a self-selection process. We ain't talking no poorness. Don't have no capital. Don't have no wealth. How you not gonna have wealth, ladies and gentlemen? That's your right to have wealth. And it ain't given to you by anybody. You gotta earn it. And you don't have to be evil to get it. The vault ain't doing nothing evil to get it. We just doing our part. We serving. That's all you got to do is serve. What are your talents? What are your abilities? People say, I don't know what I can do to get the money. I don't know how to get the money. I've been an employee my whole life. You got to serve. You got to sell. You got to give. You were created from abundance. So how you not going to give from abundance? But oh no, you heard the wrong message. You heard that money ain't real. We already know even this message might fall on deaf ears. Because many are called, but few are chosen. People not going to choose themselves because they're not around people that want to choose themselves. Well, we already know why you're not going to make it. Because you didn't choose yourself. And deep down inside, you might never choose yourself. And people say, well, how much does it really cost for me to choose myself? Whether you know it or not, the cost of slavery is always going to be higher than the cost of freedom. We'll repeat that. The cost of slavery will always be more, or will always outweigh the cost of freedom. Because freedom ain't free. It never has been, never will be. Why would you want to be a slave? A debt slave. Why? People say, man, slavery, man, it's not supposed to exist anymore. There ain't no slavery. How? You're in a contract that says if you don't pay this, you could go to jail. Right? This is something that mentally, think about it. If you're not in physical bondage, you're in mental bondage. It's mental. Slavery can be mental. You're thinking about something that really, it's a contract. You can file bankruptcy over that. We're living in the age of contracts, though. Implied and expressed. On paper and in word. But, hey, people went to a slave school system, so all they know is slave talk. Let's talk that slave talk. Well, over at the vault, we talk that freedom talk. We talk that choose yourself talk. We talk that financial independent talk. We don't talk that the money don't exist talk. That wait for your friends and your family talk. We don't talk that. We talk you got to make a stand right now talk. Why are you waiting? The sun's not waiting to come up tomorrow. The moon's not waiting to come up tomorrow. Be in tune with nature. Is the wind waiting for you? Is the thunderstorms waiting for you? If you don't prepare your shelter, you might get blown away. How many people will prepare for this financial crisis that just happened? Y'all think another one not going to happen in 10 years? Y'all can mark our words. In 2020, in between 2020 and 2023, we are in 2030. From 2020 to 2030, there will automatically be another reset. It happens every 6 to 8 to 10 years. Y'all just saw it happen in 2012. Y'all saw it happen in 2008. Y'all saw it happen. Why are you not preparing your family? Because you're around people that's not preparing their family. Because they didn't choose themselves. So why you going to choose yourself? It's real easy not to choose yourself. Right? Some men won't even step up for their family because their wives don't want to listen to the episode. But you heard the truth, men. You heard the truth. And what did you do? You let your wife talk you out of the calling. Because you were supposed to be the man, the provider and the protector. Instead, you were sitting on the couch, being the baby in the rocking chair, drinking loser's pop, watching other men provide for their families, do sports and entertainment. Wow. Feel free to type into the chat where you listening from. Appreciate you all. Feel free to type into the chat any questions. We appreciate y'all for typing into the chat. Any questions y'all have about people being called or being chosen, feel free to type into the chat. Other than that, Y'all already know what it is. It's trust Christian, own none, control everything. The message ain't gonna never change. This isn't a game. This is a lifestyle. But it's not something that we're gonna sit around and wait for nobody. The sun's not waiting for nobody, the moon's not waiting for nobody, and neither is the vault. We're not waiting for people to come in trustee training. Oh, I'ma get going soon. I'ma get going. Ladies and gentlemen, the only thing you're doing is delaying your family actually getting on the right path and connecting with the right people through relationships. This isn't just about money, it's about the relationships. You got to pay for the right relationships. If you hanging around people that can't help you out financially, you got to pay for the relationships that can help you out financially. Oh man, I didn't know I had to pay for that. Didn't you go to school? Didn't you pay for school? Wasn't they supposed to give you a better education financially? Man, the financial information is supposed to be free. Everything is supposed to be on the internet. Everything is on the internet. Oh, really? How is it that it's called private, but it's on the internet? Use some common sense. How is it private, but it's on the internet? I got my trust document through the internet. I set my documents up through the internet. I got all my game through the internet. And that's why you're public still. That was funny, but it wasn't. It was sad. People literally type into the chat, oh man, I got all my stuff done. I got my documents out of some book through the internet. Weiss Concise Trust Manual. Hey, appreciate y'all for tuning in live, listening to replay. But the vault is not waiting. Hopefully you're not waiting for your family. Christian at trustchristian.com. All the past episodes, they're marked as $1. All of them, except for the ones for 2020. We predicted the crash this year in December last year. We literally took off the first 3 months of this year, called it in December with Cornell. Literally called it, said, man, every major investor called it last year. Every major investor was calling it for 2 to 3 years. They said, man, the market is going to dip. Did the market just not do that? We know people that literally just lost 60, 70, 30, $150,000 in their IRAs and their 401ks. Y'all think we playing? People been saving up 10 years for that money. And they lost that money within 3 months. And you think it ain't going to happen to you? You think you so financially astute, you going to go get in the same investment vehicles that they in, but it's going to be different for you. Okay. Man, I just need to get a house, man. I got to take care of myself. No, you don't. You got to educate yourself. So when you lose everything, you get it back faster. Because no one can take away your private financial education, but they can take away your public assets. That's the difference. People can take away your public assets, but they can't take away your private education. That's how valuable it is. But how would you know how valuable it is if you don't know, if your dreams ain't worth nothing? Oh man, my dreams are priceless. Sure they are. They ain't priceless. Every dream has a cost. Every goal has a cost. Everyone. Oh man, it's priceless though. Look, y'all can keep lying to yourselves. But everything got a cost, even your time. But if you want to keep listening to free information, you're going to keep getting free stuff. Guess what? Everything that's free ain't gold. Gold is up $2,000. How is valuable things free? How is gold free? How is gold free and you got to pay $2,000 for it on the public market? So how are your goals free? How are your dreams free? That's how you know many are called but few are chosen. People don't even have the wisdom to discern the truth, to know that everything has a cost. Why put a limit on your goals and dreams if they are priceless? It's a wild world out there, ladies and gentlemen. It's a lot of talking heads out there. A lot of talking heads. But when y'all come over to the vault and trustee training in the private, we doing trustee workshops in the private right now. Trustee workshops when markets are supposed to be closed down. Because we understand the difference between public and private. The public got shut down, not the private. We had to do workshops in the private right now because people were itching. We had to get back together. We had to do workshops. People's families were sitting on cash. They were sitting on cash. They need investments. They needed to get the education. So when all these foreclosures come up, not even just on the private side with people in their residential, commercial properties are in default too. You literally can go get a quality strip mall spot now because you are in the right position. But if you don't have the education, how you going to do that? And people wondering should they go start an LLC or a C corp before they get in trusteeship. You got to do something different. Do something. Own none, control everything. Christian at trustchristian.com. Appreciate y'all. Christian at trustchristian.com. Appreciate y'all for listening and tuning out. Listening to the replay. Once again, this was something we talked to a lot of people about. And y'all really don't understand. There are people that they really don't know whether they chosen or not. And that's because they haven't chosen themselves. And if you're one of those people wondering if you chose yourself, you probably didn't. But if you know you chose yourself, you all in. You all in on your private education. You're all in on the truth because you heard the calling. You had to be the first of many. You had to be the first for many to do it correctly, to pass along wealth from one generation to the next properly. That's why you had to hear the message. That's why your brother didn't hear it or your sister didn't hear it. That's why your mother didn't hear it. That's why they still don't want to hear it to this day because you were chosen. But remember, the vault didn't choose you. The Spirit chose you. The ancestors chose you. When you say your prayers about being wealthy and rich, the ancestors in the universe chose you. They actually heard your prayers. They were answered. They heard the calling. They called you. They called you right back and said, hey, we want you to listen to this guy, Trust Christian, over there at the vault. But we need you to choose you because you got to do the work. You got to do the work. Many are called, few are chosen. Appreciate you all for tuning in live, listening to replay. Christian at trustchristian.com. Someone typed in the chat. We know the ones that's chosen. Appreciate you all for tuning in live that say they chosen. We know that y'all chosen. And that's what it's about, is you choosing you. So appreciate you all for tuning in live, listen, replay. Feel free to share with your friends and family. If you want access to the previous episodes from previous years, because you see it's an episode that's relevant to what you want, feel free to reach out to Christian at trustchristian.com. We'll definitely have the website back up, and we'll make it a point to literally make sure that you all can just get the season 1, season 2, and we're working on season 3 right now, 2020. We're going to keep dropping bombs. Appreciate y'all for listening.